Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So I'm in a really good mood today. I had some wins with the NDIS and I had some wins with my dad's doctor's appointment, and I just want to come on here and celebrate it and have something positive to say for once, instead of always complaining about doctors and everything, which I feel like it's all I do with my life is complain about doctors and the NDIS and all the rest of it. But I actually had some breakthroughs and had some wins yesterday, and I think it's important to celebrate that as well, because when you are on a chronic illness journey or you are caring for others, when you have like so many setbacks and you have so many negative experiences, it can really taint how you feel and make you feel really just resentful and angry and sick of it all. And but I had some wins yesterday, so I'm gonna celebrate those. So basically, last weekend, my dad had a heart episode and he was kept in hospital overnight because they thought he might have had a silent heart attack because he had some enzymes leaking from his heart into his bloodstream. Then they repeated the tests the next, they did it that night, then they repeated it again in the morning. In the morning, it was back to normal. So they were like, okay, we think you're fine, we're going to send you home. So then my dad was all like, I'm fine. And I'm like, no, seriously, I'm going to make you a doctor's appointment because you can't muck around with this stuff. And my dad has a history of atrial fibrillation for 10 years. And I don't know why it's not under control. Like, he's been on several different medications. He's never been offered an ablation. And again, it's that whole, why don't doctors just tell people their options and stuff, I don't know. So anyway, I was talking to this guy the other day about it all. He gave me a lift to my appointment through community transport. And so I was talking to him about it because he has taken my parents a few times, and he was like, well, how are your parents? And I told him what happened, and he said that he had AF and that his medication stopped it and he didn't have it anymore. And I'm like, well, that's pretty good, that's amazing, but I don't know why my dad still has it. And then my uncle was asking my mum if my dad had ever been offered an ablation or had an ablation, because apparently he had it as well, and he had an ablation, he doesn't have it anymore. So my dad hasn't been able to get it under control. So anyway, I brought my dad in for an appointment. I took him to the doctors, and we got the most amazing, loveliest female doctor, and she was so thorough, and she just did her job, I told her what was going on, because my dad is part deaf. He's deaf in one ear. When he was a little boy, he jumped on the back of a truck. I don't know, that's the story. He was playing in the street with his brothers and sisters because, he was born in 1939. They had me later in life, and kids used to play on the street more back then. And, I don't know, he jumped on the back of a van or something to, get a lift on it. And he fell off, hit his head on the bitumen, and he was raced to hospital, and they thought he was going to die. He's 5 years old, and he bled out of his ear. That saved his life, but he's had hearing loss ever since. He's completely deaf in that ear. So I went with him to advocate for him, because I said to my dad, I said, if you go to the doctors and just say, hey, I need to see a cardiologist because I had a heart episode, I said, unless you specify that you want this hurried up, I said, they'll probably just write something along the lines of, please see such and such for chronic, for management of his chronic condition. And, even the heart specialist, I rang them up and said, hey, what's the deal with all this? How do I get my dad in quicker? And they said to me, you need to make sure everything is written on the referral because it's a triage system. And if you just have it say, please see such and such for the management of his chronic condition, then they said it's a 12-month wait. And I'm like, oh, that is too long, So anyway, went with my dad, and I told the doctor, and she's like, I'll write on the referral, we'll get him in quicker. And so she was amazing. And so before I took my dad, I asked ChatGPT to find me a cardiologist that does telehealth. And I found one in Western Australia. We're in New South Wales. So I went and asked her about that, and she looked a bit perplexed, what is, why do you need 2 referrals? And I said, look, my dad's been having this condition for a decade. I said, he needs it under control. I said, he wants 2 opinions. Well, I want 2 opinions, and my mum agreed. But so we want two opinions because my dad needs to be able to make an informed decision about his health, because every time he has a heart episode, it really knocks him up. He's still buggered from it. He's still tired. He's slowly getting better, but it leaves him completely fatigued. And there's been other times where he's actually had to have his heart restarted, with the defibrillator, I think it is. So yeah, like it's pretty intense. So anyway, I got my dad this referral to this e-cardiology place, and I emailed them myself last night. I got a copy of my dad's hospital discharge summary. I got the referral, and I emailed them last night, and my dad's booked in for an appointment on Monday via telehealth with a cardiologist in Western Australia, and the local people haven't even received his referral yet. So, he's going to go to both. But at least, I said to my dad, at least this way you get a medication review and you get some peace of mind early rather than waiting months and months and months to get in. So he was quite happy with that, but he was like, oh, Western Australia, telehealth, I said, it's okay, we'll put it on my phone, I'll help you through the appointment, we'll do it together. So, that's a big win. It's a big win, and if the cardiologist he sees via telehealth on Monday thinks it's anything serious, then, he can liaison with the people here and he can write to them or ring them or whatever, and they can sort it all out, So I love technology. I love ChatGPT. I don't care what anyone says. And the other win that I had is that my son is having a review for his NDIS funding, and I needed a dietitian report, and I was like, oh, man, like, this is going to just hold everything up. Like, we put the review in and it got rejected because I'm not down as a nominee, because he prefers me to do all the talking and all the ringing around because I'm good at it, because I've had to do it, and I used to be so shy I couldn't even answer the phone hardly, and now I just, I've become good at advocating. So it's very overwhelming. Like, for me, I'm, an intelligent person, and I can be diplomatic, and I will ask questions and all the rest of it. And for me, it's bloody hard sometimes trying to get somewhere because the NDIS is an incredibly frustrating system. Like, just recently, they have stopped travel for OTs. So OTs can no longer travel to certain areas to do reports. And then it's like, well, how the heck are you supposed to get a report done if you don't have anyone around you that knows what they're doing? Like, it's just one of those things. So yeah, like in the rural areas, a lot of the people just don't have the same expertise, and that was coming from the support coordinator. So it's really, really frustrating. And so anyway, I thought it's going to be a huge wait, to get this dietitian report and all the rest of it. And my son now has to he has to get me added as a nominee so I can do his reviews for him. And we filled out consent forms and sent them in. Hopefully that'll be enough, but it may not be. It does say on the consent form that you can ask for extra things to be added. So he's asked to have me down as a nominee, but if they reject it, he'll have to ring up and have to go through all of that. And so I'm just like, his review is being put off for so long. He's running out of funding. It's a real stress. They may just roll his plan over. So he won't run out of funding, but, it's really, really frustrating. So anyway, yesterday I rang up this place. I was like, hey, do you have a dietitian? And they're like, yes, we do. And then they said her name, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that the person we used to work with years ago? And they're like, yeah, she's back. And I was like, oh, that's so good. And this lady, she just rushed everything through for me. I said, I'm really sorry to put you on the spot, but basically I only got told today from our plan manager about this particular thing, and to ask for funding, like basically ask for funding with assistance in daily living, which can provide money for a support worker to teach my son how to cook so that he can become more independent, which is the whole point, right? So then I was like, there's no way they're going to give funding for that if he doesn't have a report. Anyway, and I said the review's already, months behind because of this thing, and it's Anyway, and she was so lovely. She just rushed it all through, and she booked me an appointment the next day. She rang my support coordinator, my plan manager, and made sure the funding was there, and they got it all done. And we had the appointment this morning, and it's all done and dusted. And the dietitian is going to write a report to support him to have that funding to help him. And like, it just went so smoothly. So I mean, I was just like on such a high that I had these two things just go ahead like that, all locked in, all sorted, all done and dusted, for once, you know. And I'm like, why isn't everything that smooth? Why isn't it just that easy and that smooth when you say, I need this report done for this particular reason, and you know, you can get an appointment and you can get it booked in, you can get it done. So many times, especially in rural areas, they will say we're full to capacity. And so that is why basically we do most of our appointments online. So anyway, that was a win, and I'm really, really happy about that. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. So that's, I don't know why they say that. That's actually quite a really bad saying. It's like animal cruelty, so I feel bad for saying that now. But you know what I mean. There's more than one way to do things, and you just sometimes have to think outside the box. And ChatGPT is a really handy tool. It's helped me a lot with finding doctors and finding places that will do tests that I need and counting my calories for me and everything. So ChatGPT has been great help improving my life. But anyway, I just wanted to celebrate those wins, and yay, something is going right for once. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.